A thread by Carlos Osuita. Let's talk about how the Democrats, leftists, and Black Lives Matter made media gaslighting impossible. Donald Trump goaded them all into doing exactly what he wanted. On YouTube, BLM leftists reportedly harassed rural homeowners before getting shot. At any rate, here's why media gaslighting is impossible. Two reasons. First, leftists have made protest synonymous with riot. The press can call them protests all they want. Every single American now thinks riot when we hear of any leftist protest. And the second reason media can't gaslight is that leftists are proud of what they're doing, so they're publicizing it. And Democrats are defending it. Game over. This is exactly what the press is presenting to us, seen in Mars Attacks, where the Martians are killing everybody and saying, "Stop, we are your friends." And everybody knows it. One of my favorite YouTube channels is Demolition Ranch. Listen for how many times they say peaceful. Long story short, these guys wreck things for fun on camera. They're patriotic Americans and they're very, very funny. And they say, "So we're going to do this as a peaceful protest." And one of the guys says, "Yeah, I don't like stuff." Anyway, it's very funny. Check it out. Link in the thread. Those are real Americans. Now, they're part of a culture, and that culture is not deliberately exclusive. It simply exists. Us outsiders can love that culture and let them live in it. They aren't trying to force their culture on the rest of us. What they value above all else is freedom, and they're all mentally as strong as rampaging bulls. The press can't gaslight us into thinking these psychotically violent weaklings trying to dominate us by force are good citizens. We instantly reject that narrative. The key to gaslighting is to present a plausible narrative. You make the target of the gaslighting doubt their own perceptions. The Democrat and media narrative is so implausible that it's completely deranged, especially when we see that the defenders of Black people are virulent racists who tell Black people to obey them. They attack Black people with racist slurs. No sane person will accept the Democratic and media narrative. The actions of the rioters can't be defended under any circumstances. And gaslighting only works on mentally enfeebled people. Battered spouses, traumatized people, drugged people. The fatal error the Democrats and media made was to assume that what works on them works on the rest of us. Trump haters call his supporters a cult, not even close. Psychiatrist Robert J. Lifton came up with the best definition of a cult I've seen. A cult has three characteristics. One, a charismatic living leader who is an object of worship, has no accountability, and is the single defining element, source of power, and authority for the group. Two, a process of indoctrination based on coercive thought reform, requiring members to do things that are not in their own best interest, but are in the best interest of the leader first and the group second. Three, economic, sexual, and other exploitation of group members by the leader, including labor violations, child abuse, medical neglect, calls for violence, and sometimes mass suicide. Once again, we see that Trump's supporter is an anti-cult. How about the other side? Ooh, Dobie. How many elements of a cult does leftism have? You do the math. Trump wants all his supporters to be informed and supportive of their own free will. No cult leader or fascist or dictator wants that. The Democratic strategy is driving away Democrats. A lot of you ask, what about the violence after Trump wins? I'll tell you what. He invokes the Insurrection Act, sweeps aside the desires of the Democratic governors, and sends in the Green Berets, Rangers, Navy SEALs, Marine Special Forces, Marine Recon, Air Force Special Tactics, and Coast Guard Specialized Forces. The Coasties are already operating. That was announced by DHS. We may see something amazing, such as Air Force jet fighters buzzing a wide boulevard full of looters. But the US military has crowd dispersal methods very few people know about. And these weaklings, even the armed ones, have never gone up against tier one operators. Trump says we can secure a city in an hour. He's not kidding. No deaths, no injuries, just a bucket of ice water in the face. Cold, unforgiving reality. Follow the example of the guys on Demolition Ranch. Do they look rattled?